Hello, let's talk about 5 drawing mistakes beginners make, and it's like a continuation video on the last video we made about drawing. And so today we are going further and calling out 5 mistakes, but not all beginners. Like I always say, some professionals make these mistakes also. And I wrote some things here. Number one, thinking in 2D. If you are thinking in 2D, let's say you have a drawing. When I draw, I always reduce the opacity, whiteness of the layers, and make sure it's kind of grayed out a little bit. So most artists, beginners, and we say beginners because they don't have this knowledge, and most of the time the reasons why people lack this knowledge is not because they are not good artists, because they're focusing on the wrong thing, thinking on about the wrong thing. You see an artist draw something nice, something good, and you get enticed by those things, and you think the right thing to do is to focus on those paintings. No, that took years. I've been drawing for a long time. I've been painting for a long time now. So it took some years to get to that point. It's not something that just come about. So the first mistake, thinking in 2D. The surface we are drawing on is 2D. We can't deny that. It's not 3D. Like Blender, where you can see the mesh and stuff like that, and you can rotate the ball and stuff. It's 2D. So, but for us to create drawings that read, we need to think in 3D. And this is something I always say. You go from 2D, two-dimensional drawing, to 3D. But in our thinking, 2D only helps with measurement, and we'll get there. It's still part of one of the things I talked about. And 3D adds other things that 2D can't give us. For example, shapes, 2D, and then we go to cubes and all these 3D shapes. I won't call them shapes anymore. I don't think a cube will be in the category of a shape, but this is what I mean. Circle, shape, sphere. This is now 3-dimensional. This shape here is 2-dimensional. So what does that mean? Circle, shape, sphere. But understand, it's still the same circle. This is why I say it has to go through this process. It's still the same circle, but now what makes it a sphere? The introduction of shadow. This now brings about the idea of it being in 3D. You can say shadow and light. Now it's in 3D. So, but most people think only in 2D, and then their drawings are weak. Now, but if you must go from 2D and start thinking of 3D. How light affects form without light, shape. If we draw this reference you see here now, and I just quickly go with fast shape, see her neck, push down, her shoulders, feel that curve, feel the dress, her hands are here, feel the cloth on her hands, and then we start coming in for the hair. I'm just giving you a quick example. Feel the form. Her ears are down here or buried. That thing you see there is a cloth actually. Her neck. Feel that fabric there. Her hands are here. Just quick gesture at that standing. And then we'll just push this down. Her hair. All these things I'm doing here are shapes. Forget the details, they are shapes. So without paying attention to light, we are still in 2D. So, but why you see my drawing read a little bit better is because the idea, I think in 3D. I see these forms pushing, and at this stage I'm even capturing some forms, some light parts using my my pen you see me working with. So I'm thinking in 3D, thinking about the light, but when you think in 2D, then you have those little issues. So this is still shapes. Overall, this is what we have. This is a shape for the head, shape for the neck, shape for the hands, shape for the back. So it's still the same shape we see here also. So but when we think in 3D, it helps our drawing, elevates our drawing from that little stage to the next stage. Now we are still going somewhere with all this. The second thing now, ignoring function and structure. If you're a professional artist or painter, you know this stuff. They say form follows function, and it applies also to us. Form, you see, follows function. That is why we study anatomy. If you have limited knowledge on what you are creating, to be hard, all you do is just die on reference. Most of the things you see in this drawing I just created are not, if you look at this reference, you notice they are not exactly the same way they are in the reference. So what have I done? I have simplified the information because I know the function. It's just like if we come here and then you see me doing this. I'm adding light. And let's say we darken the background a little bit so the light pops out even more. Feel the light coming in, and I add this dots. We push lights on this stuff too. Fill this form with light, and then I come in, add light to the eyes, and then this point will fill. Don't mind me rushing. The only reason I'm drawing a little bit fast like this is because of time. I have 5 points, so I don't want to take your time too much. So feel those lines in the clothes. Feel how light affects the hair, and just sprinkle little strands of hair. Some big bold light also in this point. So because if I know this is light, I can easily pinpoint and do stuff like that. So it's easy because I know the function the light is playing here. I can easily add shadow here, add lights here. I know if I have a ball like the sphere we talked about, if I have a sphere, I put the shadow here. I know already the light will be on this point, and definitely this will be where the core shadow will be, my occlusion shadow here. So because I know the function of those things, I know lights can't be here and shadow will be here in the same place. The lights will create the shadow. They are contrast, they are opposite each other. If this is the light is hitting the nose, I know shadow will be on this point. So you need to know those functions. And also structure. You can look at an image, especially with AI, artificial intelligence, generating a lot of images. If you go on Pinterest, sometimes it's hard to differentiate which is which. So, but once in a while there might be a mistake with a reference. If you don't really know what you are drawing, if you don't know the hair you are drawing, the eyes, the nose, how things are placed proportion wise and stuff like that, you might look at a reference, and because you have no background idea of what that thing is, you might then start copying the reference, color to color, point to point, and unfortunately you are painting the wrong thing. I used to watch Glenville Pool when he will be drawing, and I do this too. You might get a reference, camera can capture. There are bad pictures captured by camera. That's why we have photographers to create good pictures. So it's not just about capturing what you see, it's about telling a story in your own way. That's what I was telling you about, simplifying information. I always say this Sargent, you see those Sargent beautiful artworks, and you look at his fashion painting, those nice painting and portraits, and you look at the dresses the sitters wear, and you look at the actual dresses some museums show them, when you compare, you notice he simplified a lot of things. So you need to learn how to simplify those things. And how will you learn how do you simplify those things? You must have that structural idea, know how draperies work, know how the human bone work. The hand can't be placed twisted on itself, and you think that is how the hand is. But if you have the knowledge, you know how to place these things. Number 3, no measurements idea. No measurements idea. This thing you see me quickly draw, this was the first pass. If I'm coming in for a second pass, the next thing you see me doing is I'll start looking at measurements. For example, I'll look at this. For example, I'll look at this. This my drawing now. Let me get the red. I'll look at the length from her jaw to her deltoid muscle, the top of her shoulder, and then I'll check the length, and I'll look at the length here. I know here there is the start of this the dress, the drapery on her neck, so I know there ought to be more space. So what do I do next? When I'm coming in for the next pass, I'll start at making those changes. Bring the shoulder down a little bit, push this down, make sure I show where the jaw is, where it starts, and then I start adding that drape, start pushing in more details, start filling the form, and you see how different things start added. This is measurement. I showed you in one of my painting in the last videos, and I showed you how I use paint for placeholders rather than, sometimes I don't sketch when I paint, sometimes I just go with the painting, but I still work on it like I'm sketching. So this measurement is eye measurement, hand to eye measurement. You see what I just showed you here, and the same thing. You remember I told you guys, don't focus on resemblance and likeness. You can easily get that with measurement. This is what I'm talking about. How do you get likeness? You compare the size of the head to the length of the top of the head to the jaw. So you compare how many heads does it take, and I measure with my stylus pen. Sometimes I close one of my eyes, and then I take those measurements and look at it. It doesn't have to be exactly the same measurement. I'm not drawing, replicating the image or the format. So I'll look at it. This head also. This is the size of my own head. Okay, not to that extent. Let's see. This is the size from here to the jaw of my own head, and I calculate it using this head size or measurement. So that is the way I think about these things. So let's continue. Then number 4, strong focus on details. Don't focus on details. I'll keep on repeating this so you understand it. Don't focus on details. Details should be the last thing that comes to your mind. What is painting? Let me give you a tip about painting, about drawing rather. It's a process. It's like sculpting. We start with the big shape, and we want to capture big things, because the big things, this bringing us back to what we first said. The big shapes are 2D. So then when we continue working on our drawing, let me just create a character here. So first, big shapes. These are all big shapes. I'm just trying to give you. Then we start going for the smaller shapes, and this is what art is. So like I said, go for the big shapes first. So what is details? Details simply mean smaller shapes, because like I said, the big shapes, the big shape is still details, but let me give you a perfect example. What I'm drawing on, what we draw on digitally, is pixels, and pixels are just small boxes. There's a point I zoom into, you start seeing the boxes. This is the boxes we are talking about. These are pixels. So if I import an image, this image you are seeing here also, I don't know if it's possible for you to see it. I can't zoom that much into it. If I import the image, I think I can zoom in, but it's the same thing. You still get these pixels. So if it's box, some painters used to do this also, where they create like boxes like that and paint those boxes detailedly. So the fact that you see that it's all details, so should you bother yourself with those little details first? No. Start with the big details. That's the shapes, 2D. And then after getting that, then you can now move to the smaller ones, because there is no difference between the detail here and the details here. So why should we start with the big shapes? Because of measurement. And we are using our eyes. I don't advise you to use that box method. You become a slave, and instead of you to enjoy that process, it becomes work, like manual labor. You are now acting like a robot. So except if you enjoy that process. So take note: big shapes, then small shapes, smaller shapes, then to the point where you want to let go. Painting has no end. You can paint and paint and paint, and we have hyper realistic painters where the painting is so real, it's just the same as a photograph. So take note of that. Then lastly, no gesture drawing idea, and this was something I talked about in the last video, but I did not elaborate it the way I'm about to elaborate it, and I did not call it gesture drawing. Gesture drawing, are those first passes. Even this can be taken as a gesture drawing. You can see how fluid the drawing is. So these two can be taken as gesture drawing. Gesture drawing carries the spirit of the pose. So gesture drawing comes before shape, because it's just like this what I told you. This, you see, I first filled the form, then I started pushing out the shapes. This gesture drawing, we just placeholder for the head, and we'll fill that pose. feel that pose, and then we start pushing and adding, the shapes. Don't trace. I'm not advising you to trace. I'm just giving you an example. So think about that. Gesture drawing. There's gesture drawing. So why do we need gesture drawing? It's the same thing. So we don't focus on details. If you are focusing on details, you are doing yourself more harm than good. So lay off details, especially if you're a beginner. Don't think about details. I don't think about details. Like I said before, resemblance, likeness is one of the easiest things to get if you use measurements. I hope you learned something from this video. If you have any question, drop it in the comment box. I'll be there to reply to you and give you feedback. If you enjoyed this video, click the subscribe button, subscribe, and there are more videos I'll be speaking on drawing, digital painting, animation, stuff like that. Thank you guys for watching and staying with me. I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you.